This is somewhat frustrating. I was just recording this. It said video reached maximum size. I was like, what the fuck? I wasn't even recording for long. Turns out for some reason my camera decided to record in 4K. So I fixed that and now I'm recording in an appropriately tiny and shit resolution. So what I want to talk about is a subset of people who talk about, say, a certain ideology that is white men are so oppressed. It's so hard being a white man. And upon seeing that, you will probably have had two reactions. One is, look at those fucking incels, idiots. And the other is, like, maybe you are one of those people who believes that white men are, straight white men are a seriously oppressed group. And so I want to come at this with a different angle. So I am coming at this. I want to present an alternative, but still an alternative and better angle that leftist type people can come at this from. Because I think that the current attitude that the left has towards, I'll just call them incels from now on, but it's broader than that. Young white men is not just uh, lazy, but also like irresponsible and possibly harmful, probably harmful. Uh, a general response of most leftists upon seeing someone who says something like that is to write them off as right wing idiots. You know, they're just incels. Call them an incel, right? Or call them, say, those fucking right wing idiots, some sort of boogeyman. Uh, or not even a boogeyman, but sort of more like a pathetic figure, someone who is just stupid. And I think this comes from years of trying to argue with these people on the internet because you're never gonna win those things. And the left has finally figured this out, and instead just goes to blanket writing people off. And in my opinion, when you immediately write a group of people off, this is the attitude that people have right now is something along these lines. Um, Society is progressing forwards, and people like you are going to be left in the dust. Within a generation, there'll be no more people who believe this sort of thing. So we just have to deal with you for now because eventually you'll all die out or come to our side or learn to live. By come to our side, I mean from a liberal leftist perspective, learn to live in a society and become a functioning person, or you'll, you know, go to prison or die or whatever. You won't be a problem for us anymore is essentially the argument. Like, just fuck off over there until you're not a problem anymore. We hate you, you're a bad person, and you're stupid, you don't understand anything. And this comes probably from trying to argue with these people online. So yeah, they may well be stupid or whatever, but that's not actually in any way useful or appropriate. What we should the far better. Let me put it this way: what you're saying to these people is something like this. The Because remember, these people genuinely believe what this. It would be like, I don't know what it would be like. I'm not good with metaphors, but what you're saying to these people is, the experience you're living with, that's bullshit. So you are the most privileged group in society. You basically don't have to work at all to have an amazing life, uh, and therefore all of us oppressed groups are fucking pissed at you because you have it all and we have nothing. And so if you're one of these people, you look at yourself and you think, I have it all, in the best position in society, then why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel so disenfranchised? Why do I feel like I have no place in the world? If you're like a young, nerdy white guy, right? Which is the incel archetype. Uh, why? So what? So clearly these people are lying to me because I feel like shit. I feel like I have no place in the world. You're telling me that I run the world, and yet here I am, a loser with no friends, who spends all day on 4chan and etc. It's just not a good way of dealing with the problem. The So instead, with what these people are going to do is they're going to look for, the as we all know, the creation of this type of person has come from a progression in the form of masculinity, right? Masculinity is shifting in definition, and so the leftist view on the subject is these people feel this way not because white people are oppressed, but because of their internal toxic masculinity and societal toxic masculinity, which is telling them they need to be a certain way, uh, and that certain way is bad for everyone. But the problem is that these leftists tend to say that this toxic masculinity is damaging me, and it's damaging all of these oppressed groups, and it's damaging society. But they almost never seem to focus on that it damages the people who believe this. And also the word toxic masculinity or the phrase toxic masculinity is shit because it's not easily understandable by a random person. When as I know from my time spent in many years on 4chan, when they hear the word toxic masculinity, what they think you're saying is masculinity is toxic, not, but they don't think you're saying these specific parts of masculinity that we think are bad and don't have a place in the world. They think you're saying that masculinity is a toxic thing. So here's my solution. And it's not my solution because plenty of people are already doing this, but I think this is the far better way to do it, because right now these disenfranchised young men, they have this whole experience of feeling outcasted and whatever, and they're drawn to the only groups that will let them in, because these people generally, they're young guys. They don't want to do all this serious shit. They want to fuck around and have a joke. And the groups that will let them fuck around and have a joke are generally right-wing groups, and they also offer a very clear and easy to understand model of masculinity. The sort of traditional family values, atomic family man, or like a more popular these days becoming is like your Bronze Age pervert type of masculinity, Christianity type of situation, like Orthodox Christians or Catholics, and bodybuilding, that sort of person. Land shark on Twitter, or Bronze Age pervert, that type of person. So they have this sort of model of masculinity set out for them, and that's very easy to understand. We all know like these stereotypical manly man hunter type of person, and they can easily be told like, well, yeah, the reason you feel this way is because there's a fucking vendetta against people like us, and so we need to stick together. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, fascist, standard nationalist or fascist propaganda type of situation. Like, there's this out group, and this out group is coming to attack us, so we need our strong sense of identity to blah blah blah, and that's the place they're being driven to. And so I'm skirting dangerously on the edge of the left made me a fascist, SJWs made me a fascist. So I'm gonna try and like carefully step on this thin ice so I don't fall through. But I just think there would be a better way of rather the thing we should be doing is not completely writing them off, but not either trying to communicate with them or whatever, like not saying, hey, come over to our side, that sort of situation, because that's never going to work. There's that. But I think a lot of people because that doesn't work, they write them off with that old fucking, I hate this shit, you can't reason with unreasonable people. Yeah, well, of course, that's not relevant here. Rather, just show them a better example. There are definitely, I'm sure there's people out there that are trying to do this sort of thing. And the best way to do this is just through, create spaces where these people feel somewhat comfortable, that aren't dangerous and shit. Just, like, it doesn't have, don't be preachy. I don't like this. I don't like any of this. The whole attitude of like these more identity driven kind of leftists, or more, I don't even know what you call them these days, but sort of mainstream left is a lot of like, basically we need to actually we've figured this out. The feminists, we've figured this out. Masculinity has these shit parts. We need to get rid of them. They're trash. They don't belong anywhere. good, you did that, good job, great. And then when it came to, okay, so what do we fill in the gaps with? Everyone was like, I don't know, fuck them. No, you need to provide a better model of masculinity for these people to fall into. And right now, there are very few, like, what these people are seeing as this better model of masculinity is these most disgusting fucking, like, it's all the people who believe that they can be a better model of masculinity is like they're pushing celebrities and all this shit, and like, you know, K-pop idol type of like more a more feminine masculinity, or, you know, all this bullshit that's not what anyone fucking wants. That's not going to help anyone. A genuine better replacement whatever. Okay, my gender acceleration is coming out. But something that can actually, you know, they've been disenfranchised, re-enfranchise them, not necessarily within the broader scope of society, definitely not on top of the broader scope of society, but but something that doesn't pit it as them against us against them, something that pits it as a, you know, something that is almost keyword here, almost sympathetic to them. These are people who are victims of the changing climate. I do genuinely believe they are victims. Because sure, they're white men, they have lots of privilege, they're normally middle class, they don't necessarily have monetary issues, they don't have, you know, racism against them, sexism against them, all this shit. Sure, they're privileged in all these other ways, but from like an ideological standpoint, a more like, not a material standpoint, an existential standpoint, they are in a sense victims. They are people who are being slowly denied a place in wider society as the tides shift. And, you know, whether or not you care about them, I can't make you care about people like that. But from a pragmatic standpoint, when you have a large group like that who have a strong sense of internal identity and far right leanings, it's going to end fucking badly for the rest of us. Rather, we need to sort of, you know, and not through all this bullshit. Like, I mean, a lot of people like to praise people like ContraPoints and Philosophy Tube as like being a better, like showing them a better world, but that's all fucking, that's the Reddit side of things. We need we need we need something better. We need to be better than that. That shit's fucking sucks. We need a better, I don't even know what it would even, I don't even have words for it. I don't even have words for a thing like this. A better system, I guess, a more, okay, since I literally was just reading Deleuze before I started making this video, let me use this word, a more rhizomatic model of these different groups in society, where it isn't this separated incel group, but there's people like me. Because, you know, I say people like me, I don't mean look how cool I am. I'm talking about from one very specific thing. So I covered back in a little while ago a song by Negative XP, aka School Shooter, who is one of the prominent figures in right wing incel. He's definitely, he self-identifies an incel, that sort of person. School Shooter, and he makes like punk music, and he's like the theme tune to the entire incel identity thing, right? And so I covered one of his songs, which meant a lot of incels started to find my music, because that blew up. It has like, what, 60,000 views on SoundCloud or something, which is a lot for me. It's like by far my most known song on SoundCloud. And so a lot of these people came over to see my sort of music, right? A lot of them started following me, and then they were sort of surprised when it's not all your basic punk stuff like Negative XP makes, but there's actually like a lot of experimental stuff as well. This is what I'm talking about. It's not about like you're the bad person, come over to here to the good side. It's more like we're all bad people, there is no good side. Come over here, here's an interesting thing, here's something cool. And then, you know, a lot of I get hate from those people. I don't really give a shit, because I also get love from those people. Like, and I'm not saying, again, this sounds like I'm using myself as some great figure of converting incels to leftism. That's not what I give a shit about at all. At all. I'm not trying to do that. What I'm trying to do is just, I'm not converting them. This isn't, do you think political ideologies are religions? No, I don't give a shit about that. I just want, people to have a place to live. And in the world that means a place to live within culture, within the Wired, because the Wired is where culture takes place. And that isn't separated off into their own little isolated groups, something that's actually interconnected, because that's how systems work. I want the system to actually mesh. And, no, I didn't do any of this on purpose. This was all an accident. But now, and I don't know if I've even helped anyone or not. I don't know what I'm doing. But I think it's important to just expose these people to a more wider world, and in a way that isn't saying, look what you guys did wrong, or a way that's saying, this is what the world would be great if it wasn't for you guys, or a way that's saying, or on the other side, a way that's saying, this is what they took from you, instead a place that says, here is a place, here is a system that you can be a part of, regardless of whether it's in the center of society. As I said, I don't know if I said this in this one or in the previous recording that failed. Doesn't matter if it's fringe. What matters is more that there's actually just an exposure to interesting shit. This isn't some like how do I put it? This isn't some like, oh, you just need to make friends with them and they'll magically convert. No, that's obviously not the case. But again, your aims are all wrong. This isn't about converting people, because if your aim is to convert them, it's just preachy and bad. The goal is here to actually get to the source of the problem. Someone who has no model of who to be someone who has no model of who to be, someone who has no idea of their position in the world, someone who has complete self feels wrong, and the only people who are giving them a sense of self are either, some people sure can be converted by your ContraPoints and stuff, but most of them, these people come from 4chan. None of that Reddit shit is gonna fucking help them. And so rather than showing them preachy political shit, show them art. Or I know this is just because all I can do is art. That's the only thing I can do. I can't create spaces other than just by creating artistic ideas. That's all I can do. But I'm trying to show people interesting shit, not correct shit. Not, this is, you ought to be doing this. Just, you might. Here's an option. Or like, I'm not saying how one ought to live. I'm saying how one might live. Here's a way one might live. I think that's the correct. I hope that I'm doing the right thing here, regardless of how on such a small scale, by just making dumb bits of artistic expression that might give someone an idea of something, break and reform something, some idea. I hope I'm doing the right thing. I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. No one really, I think, does. But I'm pretty sure that I'm doing a less bad thing than just saying, you fucking people who think the white men are oppressed. You're just idiots. Sure, but they have an experience, and that's how they've identified what they're experiencing. If you just say you only think that because you're stupid, rather than giving them an alternative or presenting just a wider view of the world, I don't think that's useful at all. I don't know why I started rambling about my music in this. That's basically irrelevant. I've ruined this whole thing by talking about my music. I completely ruined the entire point I was trying to make by making some weird fucking comparison with the noise music. I don't know why I did that. That completely weakened my point. I'm trying to come up with praxis here. That's why I said it. It's because I'm trying to come up with praxis. And that's the thing that I could identify with what I'm doing that could help. But I'm sure there are better ways. I'm not smart enough to think of them. It's just I don't know, but I hope I'm making some sort of sense here. I hope I'm making some sort of sense. I don't think I think these people have some pity to their situation. I think they are. I think they deserve something before they do it themselves. As a whole, that was so vague. I can't speak English. I just don't know how words work. As in, right now, the way things work are you're a right wing person, you watch a ContraPoints video, you're like, the ContraPoints is a real person with real opinions and not stupid. Oh my god, leftists are cool. And then you become a leftist, and then you join the leftist Discord server, the the single leftist Discord server, and you say, hey, I used to be an incel and now I'm a leftist, and everyone says, wow, amazing. That's too late. You can't rely on that to happen. You need to be, I don't want to say infiltrating, that sounds too sinister. And it's not even what I mean to say. But there just needs to be options. They just need to be providing options. There we go. There just needs to be options because masculinity being one single thing is the source of this whole problem. If you can provide, if you have any option to provide any sort of idea of what a person could be, how a person might live, then I think that's a far better way of doing it. I hope this wasn't shit. It probably was way too rambly and god awful because I don't know how to speak. Also, way too long. I'm terribly sorry. Thank you.